There's this website on Instagram I see where they have the specialty things to tie you up.
What?
And they're so gorgeous. Like these beautiful ribbons.
This is turning into a corno.
Pieces where, you know, where it holds your neck and your hands.
What?
I don't know what this is.
Oh, I'm going to show you.
Yes.
It's gorgeous. I think because, you know, I have such an aesthetic.
Yes.
And I'm like, if I could be tied up and look this good, let's go.
What in the BDSM 50 Shades of Grey is happening here? I don't know what it is with this current trend of Gen X, 50-plus-year-old women going on these podcasts and speaking about the bitter lives that they currently live. First, it started with Tracy Ellis Ross, and then it went to Holly Berry showing us her snatch at the Met Gala, and then this lovely young lady right here. Now, if you're unfamiliar, she goes by the name of Cree Summer. She played Freddie from A Different World back in the day. If you're too young for that, then you might remember her voice from popular animations such as Susie Carmichael from Rugrats. She played Valerie Gray on Danny Phantom, and even Penny on Inspector Gadget. A lot of voices. But now she joins us on this podcast entitled Lovers by Shan, with the title of the video being, and I shit you not, I lost my S drive because he never did this. As I always say, young modern women of today should be looking at older women as an example of the choices that they made in their life, how has it resulted, and then watch their behavior to ensure that their behavior doesn't match their choices and thus never getting their life result. Nevertheless, let's consume the content. Without further ado.
Okay. Do you think that the partner that you're talking about, that you lost that sex drive for?
Many
partners. The many partners.
Yeah.
Damn,
Do you
Granny!
think that there was a time where they had that confidence, that sureness, that mischievousness?
In the beginning, perhaps.
Did they? Or did you have the,
No, I had
I'm going to
it.
pretend?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I had it. I mean, I don't think, it's so embarrassing to say at 55. I don't think I've clearly chosen a partner that's compatible for me. Yet. With all I know. I'm too smart to have chosen what I've chosen, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could have given myself the credit for how intelligent I really am. I think sometimes I found myself in situations past the expiration date purely out of loneliness. I think loneliness is probably the greatest culprit. To get me into things where I could have probably just looked at it and gone, I know that ain't gonna work.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. But he drives a really nice car and he's, you know, what a smile. And,
Ready?
And he's fucking ready.
Whoa.
And then, you know, there you are.
First off, if you reach 55 years old, still blaming men, still single, still bitter, then maybe it's time to stop and ask the correct question, the hard question of what's the common denominator here. If you're too smart to be selecting what you had, then maybe you're not that smart. And maybe hindsight is 20/20 and you didn't learn from your previous situations, thus leading you to make the same exact mistakes time and time again. Your priority over the material goods that he has and can potentially give you over the morality, the integrity, the saneness of a man makes it too far, too late. Sometimes the truth is harsh, but it's better to understand what's going on before you reach 55. But notice how she references the men that she's lost S attraction for. Many. Men hear that and think, damn, I'm going to have to follow up after all of these broken bonds and trauma-filled experiences? Not I.
I think that's the thing too, is just that patience and that giving yourself the credit to know that you do know what you want, you know, and it's worth it to take a minute, you know. But yeah.
Was it?
I don't think I've ever really done that. And then sometimes also being victimized by being chosen.
Victimized by being chosen? You cannot make this shit up. Damn, I need Kevin. Where Kevin at, baby? Oh, he would have had a 4-hour monologue on a Wednesday night. Just dissect this chopping, just cooking, just fried grease batter cooking this shit alive. Imagine being a victim of other people's decisions to be into you. That is so crazy. You could make the decision to not be in their option set. See, what's happening here is you have fake philosophical tone that is being drowned in cope. This is the Tracy Ellis Rossing of America, 50 and alone. Young women should be utilizing this as a case study.
I just think so happy to be chosen. You know, oh, he chose me, so it must be meant to be.
Even actually when you were talking in the beginning about, you know, the kind of people who approach you and like, well, that's just who approaches me. I'm like, well, who do you approach?
I don't approach anybody.
Why not?
I've never done that before. Ever. I don't think I've ever approached a man. I've never asked a man out.
Why?
I don't know now that we're talking about it. Now that I think about it, I mean, what is there to lose?
Right. Yeah. And then you get to actually be in the driver's seat and select.
And I do love the driver's seat.
Of course.
To give yourself credit to not just that you didn't pick the right people, but you have to wait statistically for the right person to pick you.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be a hard gig.
Right.
It's going to be hard.
Yeah.
Yes, what a lovely gift. You're so right. I have never, and I've had moments where I've thought someone was really attractive or mostly interesting. I mean, this is really my erogenous zone right here. Mm-hmm. So I've had conversations where I'm like, God damn, this motherfucker is smart, you know.
I call these women susceptible to game. They don't need actions from you. If you fit a physical bill that they are into and you can talk faster than what they can think, then it is absolutely no struggle. These are the 1 to 2 daters and you're already deep inside, back when she was in her roaring 20s. But I also find it interesting that she says she likes to be in the driver's seat, yet she's not taking shots. Now, I don't agree with women taking shots. I think that's more masculine behavior, but I do agree with a young lady demonstrating, choosing signals to a guy that she's interested in. But her becoming a victim of being an option, as she would put it, is because a couple of decades ago, she was nice, she was cold. But it gets proven the more that we do this content that no matter how cold you are to all the pretty girls out there, that prettiness is going to fade. And if you haven't adjusted your behavior, your attitude to be form fit within a guy that would want to retain you, then this may be the bitter end.
And I haven't said anything, you know. Maybe I'll give it a try.
You really should.
I think I should.
Your best sex, your best relationship, your most erotic life is like that way.
Woo!
That's really cool.
It's very cool.
A lot of people.
Very cool.
It's way better.
I do. Now I want to try it. Oh my God, my girlfriends are just going to be like, we heard you say it on camera. It's on. Oh God, I can't wait.
Right?
But I gotta tell you, I've been thinking about it because I've been actually thinking about it.
They about to let us out.
There's this website on Instagram I see where they have the specialty things to tie you up.
What?
And they're so gorgeous. Like these beautiful ribbons.
This is turning into a corno.
Pieces where, where it holds your neck and your hands.
What?
I don't know what this is.
Oh, I'm going to show you.
Yes.
It's gorgeous. I think because, I have such an aesthetic.
Yes.
And I'm like, if I could be tied up and look this good, let's go.
What in the BDS 50 Shades of Grey is happening here? Yo, they will chastise men all day for having high levels of S drive. Meanwhile, they will romanticize situations that got Shannon Sharpe into trouble. Funny how that works. While also playing this fantasy romantic type music in the background while talking about being tied the hell up. I guess Shannon should have went for her, at least as a woman of his age, right? But why in the menopause are 55-year-old women talking about their S lives out on podcasts? Is there nothing that should be kept within in 2025? I mean, why does everything have to be out in public? Why can't this just be amongst your friend group? And why is this shit tolerated? If there was 2 dudes talking about tying chicks up, they would try to get them canceled, baby. But apparently women could do it. That's why these women podcasts, they sell S toys like they hotcakes. Why do you think that they always trying to sponsor them? Because although women shame men for their sexual prowess, deep down, covertly, they're experiencing the same things. They just don't want to talk about it, generally. This to me is just so ridiculous, and it borderlines on pathetic for grands to be talking about getting tied up at 55. But listen, that's just a portion of the content. There's another snippet elsewhere in the content that I wanted to go over as well that I think paints a much better picture of what it is that I'm laying out here.
That to be said,
Yeah.
majority, 80% of people who sign up for this service are women. Many of them are mothers.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, I think, are hoping that this is going to make the difference because they've noticed their libido has dried up. And this happens for a lot of different reasons.
Sure, menopause, all kinds of things.
Right? But then here you are.
I don't know what
So-
menopause has done for me. I actually got skinnier and wanted to everything. It's so bizarre. And my girlfriends are like, but yeah, menopause has
She's got 2 kids, by the way.
just set me on fire. I don't know if it's menopause or just my mind just finally breaking free.
I think it's that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just saying, let's try everything. We got like 10 more minutes on the planet. I don't want to waste it.
I love that.
Yeah.
And I think it is partly menopause. I think it is partly the mundane. You got into routine with somebody.
Yeah.
But I do think a large percentage of that is also what you're talking about. When you're with a partner who lacks the erotic, who lacks imagination, and who doesn't give you that sense of security that things are going to be all right. They have a partner who's overextended and
Yes.
lets them know that. A partner who feels stretched thin financially, stretched thin, spiritually, mentally with their time, and they let their partner feel that. For a woman in that situation who looks at her partner and is like, I just do not feel like having sex with you.
This partnership.
What would you say to her?
I would say to her, you don't have to. I'd say you don't have to.
She was married for over a decade, and I get a lot of visceral reactions when I go over content and they're talking about the S-lessness within marriage. And there's a bunch of things that can lead to that, but I think that what men are not as privy to is not only that can happen and how often that it happens, but they often don't get to see women like this communicating about it within their groups or their echo chambers. Because him man bad made me feel this way, therefore we did not do this act that would be important to him or a relationship. And what advice would you give to other women? Well, you don't have to anyway. Is that the best that we can do? Single ladies keeping other women or creating other single women since the beginning of time.
And I would say that it's time for a conversation. Unless it's gone so far that you don't think you can ever get that car engine to start again. You need a whole new engine. But I think, we do get to these places in long-term relationships where the conversation even stops. You're so exhausted. And you know what's coming. You know what I mean? And now you're really pissed too and resentful. I think I would tell them to start talking about it. And even before the conversation, a conversation with yourself. Why don't I want to have sex with this person? Mm-hmm. Really, what's going on? Because I sure as did before. So what's happened in me? And sometimes I find in long-term relationships we don't appreciate and acknowledge that you're not the same person that you married or got together with 6 years down the line. We're constantly changing. Mm-hmm. Right? So maybe the chick that let you do that and thought it was exciting realizes she don't even like that shit anymore. Right. And we have to get that's something I think couples don't do is say, oops, let me introduce myself. I'm a different person now.
Damn.
I was a different person after I gave birth. A totally different person. I don't think we acknowledge that.
While people do change doesn't just happen overnight. Generally, you don't wake up a completely different person. It's gradual. And if you're not growing with your significant other, then you're going to drift apart.
I'm triggered as hell by the comment sections under a snippet of the interview that Cree did with, I think her name is Shawnee. And in the snippet that's going viral, Cree leads off by saying, I'm embarrassed to say that at 55, with all that I know, I haven't made the best decisions with partners. And I was on...
Full disclosure, I am not sure if this is, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, a man or a woman. We're just going to go into this conversation that this is a biologically born woman just for the sake of the content. I don't know, though.
On Instagram, which is a hellscape in itself. And these men are under there so excited to chew up this lady in the way that they think they're chewing up this lady.
Okay.
Well, yeah, loneliness gets everybody. The lady never said she
does.
was lonely. She said, I'm embarrassed to say with all that I know, meaning I'm intelligent, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, and I still make choices that don't position me to find the best partner. It doesn't mean I'm not trying to be better at finding the partner. It doesn't mean I haven't applied the lessons from previous relationships. It doesn't mean that I'm not working on myself. It means that, for me, I interpret it as you simply can do your best.
First off, is that Red Skull in the background wearing Gucci with Captain America in a headlock? Second off, when I hear arguments like this, right, that are saying that people are just trying to do their best, what I often think of? It's the student that continuously fails the test and is just saying, well, I'm just trying to do my best. And yeah, I guess that different people are going to have different aptitudes for being in a long-term loving relationship. But similar, as I would say to that student, is what are you doing? Truly, what are you doing in order to increase your chances of passing the test? The same thing that I would say to a Cree Summers. Really, what have you really done in order to be retained long-term by a man? And I can really hear the average modern woman saying, well, what kind of goal is it to be retained by a man? And my response is always, life is about relationships. It's about community. Can you find a tribe outside of a community that you have created, one of with a significant other? To a degree, but it'll never be as close and as deep as that relationship, will be the most important relationship within your life. And what mindsets, ideologies, or echo chambers has allowed that student to remain an F student, or has allowed you to not be retained? Loneliness is a bastard. And men do loneliness a lot better than what women do loneliness. We already know that. And that's why I think talks like hers should be utilized as a case study. Guys, I'm going to leave the full length, like the full hour podcast down in the description box down below, so you guys can go over and check out all of the thoughts should you want to. But I always want to make sure to give credit to where the original podcast happened, so you guys can form your own opinions as well. But in regards to my comments within this, guys, let me know what you think. Write them down in the comment box down below. Let me know if you agree with my points or my thoughts in regards to this. Oh yeah, also link to my men's community down in the description box down below. Click it, see all the awesome things, the resources, the brotherhood that can be in store for you. And I will see you guys soon. Until next time, YouTube. Peace. You is ratchet as they come. Rainbow weaves and bat wing lashes, weighing more than a man. What time is your football practice? I bet you can hit that A gift like a mug. How you big back it? Said a man must buy you gifts. Where here goes a Fitbit tracker. Are you mad? Cause you got 3 kids by 4 different dads. You pick cookies, then you bash. Oh man, when you get sad, then